Good afternoon. Thanks for watching. This is Now. We have a lot of news to get to. Let's start with this breaking news.
Yeah, let's begin on Maui, where we just learned Luakini Street will be closed from Prison Street to Hale Street in Lahaina because of a damaged propane line on Luakini Street. Now, residences in between are being evacuated for the time being, and we will let you know when we get any updates on the situation. Here on Oahu, firefighters have been battling a massive building fire that broke out overnight in Kakaako. Let's get the latest from our Dylan Ancheta, who's live at the scene. Hey, Dylan.
Hey Ashley, Jonathan, we are live outside, along Queen Street I should say, live outside the Used Surfboards Hawaii Surf Shop. I'm going to step out of the way and give you folks a closer look here. People are still cleaning up. If you can look carefully inside that building, the storefront looks to be okay, but the real damage is on the inside of this building. This is located again along Queen Street. Earlier this morning it was a very different scene when firefighters took over this block to put out the massive fire. They were called out around 1:30 this morning and it burned for several hours. It wasn't fully extinguished until around 7 a.m. It was reported that the fire burned the warehouse with surfboards inside. Of course, surfboards are highly flammable. That caused the flames to grow quickly and significantly. Firefighters initially fought the flames from inside, but they were forced out when the roof collapsed, and that's when they rolled out the ladders and extended hoses and tried to fight this fire from above. One resident described what she saw earlier this morning.
I heard a car alarm go off, and I thought it was odd because it went on for a long time. So I just walked out to my lanai and I saw a weird rectangle of flames coming from the roof. And then all of a sudden, and then we thought it died down, and then, oh my God, huge flames, huge.
Now, again, this fire really impacted more than just one business, the Used Surfboards Hawaii Surf Shop. It also impacted Lynn's Hawaiian Snacks. They were their warehouse was heavily damaged by this fire. Of course, they were gearing up for the holiday season and their storage space was filled with inventory. All of that is now lost. Now back out here live, fire investigators are still sifting through the rubble to try and find what ignited this fire. They are here today. The ground is still wet from the firefighters and all of the hoses, and the debris is scattered throughout the street. But the little bit of good news here, there were no injuries reported in this fire. They are working to figure out what caused this, and when we find out, we will bring that to you on your Hawaii News Now digital platforms. Live in Kakaako, I'm Dylan Ancheta, Hawaii News Now.
Let's get you the very latest on the ongoing eruption at Mauna Loa. Despite a reporting error yesterday, Hawaiian Volcanoes Observatory said today that the lava flow is about 1.8 miles from DKI Highway, also known as Saddle Road. HVO also discussed the developing news of a new overflow being reported.
So the reports that we got, again, these are preliminary reports from this morning. The reports that this overflow was about 4 kilometers upslope from the front. So it was basically we're going to be monitoring that to see if it has the potential to impact anything. As of right now, it's not posing any threat. It's higher up the slope than the current flow front. So if it continues, and there's no guarantee that it will continue to be active, if it does, it'll be some time before it gets down closer to the road or anything down there again. So it's a breaking development. We'll monitor it closely. It was about 4 kilometers up this morning. No immediate threat, but we're watching it carefully to see what it does, where it goes, and if it remains active.
So everyone is wondering, how long could it take before the lava could reach the highway? Here's the latest update from HVO's David Phillips.
A range of values were given, and it was kind of like, well, here's the worst case scenario, the soonest possible, but it'll probably be longer. And it's very easy for people to remember, oh yeah, it was, they said it could be a couple days or it could be a week, but it's constantly changing, and there's a range of different models. And based on the behavior right now, we don't really have an estimate of a time or a place or an if that has a very strong probability just based on the current activities.
Also today, we got a really cool up-close look at a lava flow from Matt Patrick with USGS. I'll just play out what he had to show us.
And yeah, on the overflight today, we saw this, as Dave said, an overflow on the east side of the flow behind the leading tip of the flow that might be robbing some supply from the leading tip of the flow. But here I'll pan around so that you get a sense of what the channel looks like. There's Mauna Kea. And then we're looking up the channel. And then I think you can see Fissure 3 there with the gas plume with the spattering just above the cone.
And at today's media briefing held just hours ago, Mayor Roth reported this troubling news about some people going where they're not supposed to.
Yeah, so the area off of Saddle Road towards the lava, that is all off limits. You know, that's DLNR land, and they've already put out statements saying that's off land, off. It's also PTA land up there, Pakala training area, and you know, we definitely don't want people going into that area and Hawaiian homelands. All three of those entities have said that those areas are off limits. We have seen some stuff on social media where people are bragging about going out there, putting marshmallows up by the flow. That's just really disrespectful for all Hawaiians, and you know, for us as a culture. And you know, that's, I mean, just terrible stuff. We're out there. People are out there and they're looking at the beauties of nature, and then they're ruining it by putting Opala out there and disrespecting, you know, the land and the people.
This image, taken Monday, shows a lava flow branching. The large blocks in the channel are called lava boats. Now these form when portions of Fissure 3's cone or levees break away and are rafted downstream.
As they do that, they'll get coated with new lava and assume like a fairly smooth texture. And when they eventually reach the distal areas of the flow, sometimes they'll be deposited as these large, very smooth boulders.
And check out this new aerial image of Fissure 3 erupting. Take a look at how defined that spatter cone has become. There's something else that can take shape here, known as a spatter bomb. As it flew through the air from Fissure 3, the molten lava stretched and started to break apart as it was cooling. And as this bomb came to rest on the ground, it continued to cool and solidify, and it ended up taking this elongated shape. Once again, a big thanks to USGS for continuing to supply us with those images. And if you want to see more just like that, head to our gallery of hundreds of photos on our H&N digital platforms. We also have a new eruption playlist started on our YouTube page, so check it out.
China's government is making a radical shift, officially moving away from its zero COVID policies. Now, the move appears to be in response to widespread protests in recent weeks, including some of the boldest demonstrations in decades. Elizabeth Palmer has more.
China's National Health Commission held a press conference to announce that mandatory COVID testing for most people will end immediately. They'll no longer have to show a negative test result in public places, and those armies of health workers in hazmat suits will stop locking down apartment complexes. Also, people with COVID won't be forced into state quarantine. They'll be able to recover at home. All that and a commitment to vaccinating the elderly sounds like common sense, but it's a huge climb down for Xi Jinping and the Communist Party, who watched protests erupt in over 20 cities with calls for freedom, not lockdowns. Today, the protesters got a lot of what they wanted. But because the government has convinced people that COVID is dangerously lethal, the new rules have brought fresh anxiety. At the Shichahai River, where hardy Beijingers head to swim, this regular was getting ready to plunge in. I'm confused, he told us. Is zero COVID better, or should we learn to live with the virus? This government flip-flop. I'm just not sure which side to pick. He's already picked not getting a vaccine. He's chosen to ward off COVID with a freezing dip to boost his immune system.
The risk now is with so many under-vaccinated elderly people, China is facing a huge surge in COVID deaths.
Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, Tokyo.
Well, as the nation sees a rise in respiratory illnesses and COVID hospitalizations, health leaders are once again warning the public to mask up. Ivan Rodriguez joins us now with the latest on that. Now, Ivan, what are some states seeing in terms of COVID-19 cases?
Ashley, well, recently out of Des Moines, the Des Moines public school system announcing that 10% of their both student and teacher population, they actually are absent because of illness. And those illnesses the school system is reporting are things like cold, flu, RSV, and also COVID-19. And also in the statement that was released by the Des Moines public school system, they're saying that this isn't something that's just isolated to them. It's not something that they're only experiencing. Other parts as well, school systems across the state of Iowa is saying the same thing as many other states across the country as well.
And we've been hearing the term tridemic when it comes to RSV, COVID, and flu. What are public health officials urging in terms of precautions?
Ashley, it's a lot of the same reminders that we've heard for years now, and a lot of them have to do with just basic hygiene, but they're still so important, health officials say. Things like constantly washing your hands, disinfecting surfaces that are used frequently. Another big thing to also keep in mind is if you are sick, health officials are saying don't go to work if you're able to work from home or make some sort of arrangement just to not be able to transmit anything that you may have, even if it is a cold, just to play it safe. And again, it's just all those things that we've heard for such a long time, it seems, but they still work, public health officials say, and it's just a big reminder, especially as we head in closer to the holidays.
Yeah, and is the CDC expressing any concern with the rise in respiratory illnesses?
The CDC is sounding the alarm. We actually just heard from the CDC director yesterday, and I want to read a statement in them where the CDC director, she says in part, "We now face yet another surge of illness, another moment of overstretched capacity, and really one of tragic and often preventable sadness." And this is something that we've heard from the CDC as well. They are also very concerned when it comes to people getting their booster shots and also really considering getting their flu shot as well. Both of these are things that they can say can help prevent illness as well.
All right, Ivan Rodriguez joining us this afternoon. We appreciate the time, Ivan.
We want to take you now to Pearl Harbor, where remembrance ceremonies were held this morning. Here's Casey Lund with this report.
Well, a very special ceremony here at the Pearl Harbor Visitor Center. There were about 800 guests that were able to get one of the seats here. It was an invite-only event and a very special one on a very important day, December 7th, 2022, 81 years after that fateful day, December 7th, 1941. The crowd with the USS Arizona Memorial in the background witnessed some truly special moments. The first, the flyover from the Hawaii Raptors, those fighter jets flying in a missing man formation right into a beautiful rainbow over the harbor, and then one of our Pearl Harbor survivors saluting the USS Daniel Inouye as it passed through the harbor here. But the most memorable moment came when one of the two remaining survivors of the USS Arizona attack, one of the men on board that ship that fateful day, spoke to the crowd via video message.
I'm one of two remaining survivors from the USS Arizona. My remaining shipmate, Ken Potts, lives in Provo, Utah. I had hoped to be with you in Honolulu for this 81st commemoration, but my 101-year-old legs are not what they used to be.
Another survivor of the attack on Pearl Harbor, Sterling Cale, just celebrated his 102nd birthday. He was working as a pharmacist maid in the Navy as those bombs fell over Oahu. He reflected on today's ceremony, his 81st. One of the gentlemen said it's very important that we need to teach the young people more about Pearl Harbor. Do you agree with that? What do you think about that?
I think they should be No, everything happened on December the 7th.
Well, as the years go on, we will have fewer and fewer Pearl Harbor survivors at these ceremonies. Many of the speakers mentioned this, that it's important that we continue to remember what happened here and honor the sacrifice of those brave men. Reporting at the Pearl Harbor Visitor Center, I'm Casey Lund for Hawaii News Now.
Thank you very much, Casey, for that report. Want to get a check of your first alert weather? We are expecting trades to return today as we take a live look outside. Let's get a check of everything else as far as those conditions go. Here's Guy Hoggy.
We're going to get fewer showers today. That big Mauna Loa is on the way out. So by tomorrow morning, don't expect a lot of rain out there. Should be relatively dry out there. We're not going to see much, although there will be, with the returning trade-ins, a few windward and Mauka showers, right? They will be mostly light, and they should be moving out quickly. So the marathon morning should be fairly dry, at least for the marathon side. And then on the windward sides, we'll see some showers come through, but they won't be all that heavy. They should be rather light. And remember, with those trade winds coming back at strength, whatever rain comes in over the next several days will also be moving out rather quickly. And fog shouldn't be an issue because of the breezy winds, although it is a little hazy today. The haze should be clearing out by later this afternoon. And look at those winds running quite firm into next week.
What do you say we get to some good news now? A local volleyball star is setting up her team for success in Texas. Our Steve Uehara has that special interview.
Sage Ka'ahaina-Torres is a local girl, Iolani grad, and the starting setter for the #1 team in the country. Her Texas Longhorns host Marquette tomorrow night. Sage joins us now live from Austin, Texas. Good morning, Sage. How are you feeling?
Good morning.
How are you feeling?
Good. I'm great.
Okay, so you're not the only Hawaii girl on this team. There's 3 of you. How does that happen?
I mean, Jarrett does a great job recruiting. He had some time back home in Hawaii, I guess, during his college days, so he kind of has a connection back at home. But, I mean, it's super awesome to be able to play with Kaylee and Devin. I haven't played with them since high school. I didn't even get to play with Devin when I was younger, so I'm super glad that I get to finally experience this with them.
Yeah. Okay. So for you personally, this is what you transferred from Utah for, right? To go on a run, to win a national title. How exciting is it that this is you're finally getting a chance to bring that to fruition?
I mean, it's like a culmination of what I've been doing for the last 5 years now. This is my 5th year in college. I mean, this is what you come to Texas to do. You want to win a national championship. So everyone here is super competitive. Getting to that trophy at the end of the year is our biggest goal, but going out and winning tomorrow is what we have right in front of us. It's what we're trying to do, and it's what we're going to get after tomorrow. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, I'm looking at your stats here. You lead the team with 941 assists. I mean, you guys are stacked. I mean, talk about that pressure maybe to feed the beast, because you got so many people anywhere you look. I mean, there's weapons everywhere, right?
Yeah, we have some amazing players on our team. We, I think, have about 6 All-Americans. We have super athletic hitters, but I mean, sometimes like we have so many options, it's like you don't know who to give the ball to. So they all want the ball. They all want to put it away every single time they have the opportunity. So, I mean, they make my job easy. I kind of just put the ball up there and they go do what they got to do. So they make my life easy. I always say that, but I'm super thankful to have such talented people around me.
Yeah, there's more to it than that. I know you're being modest. You play a big role. Hey, I know you miss the Hawaii food. I imagine you're eating a ton of barbecue. What is there to eat out there in Austin, Texas?
The only place I've been to so far is Black's Barbecue, just because it's right downstairs from my apartment building. But Jarrett loves barbecue. Every single time we have a team like meeting or we're watching film, Jarrett will always order barbecue. So I'm not missing out on any barbecue around here. I got the full experience.
Hey, we're watching you. We're excited for you as well. I'm sure you have a lot of people, though, that have been instrumental in this back home. Say hi to everybody.
Hi, Mom and Dad. I love you guys. Yeah, I mean, the whole island's been super supportive. It's so awesome to be able to read comments or like read messages from everybody on social media. So, I mean, I know Kayla and Devin appreciate it a lot. I appreciate it a lot. So, thank you to everyone back home for supporting us. We just want to make y'all proud, so we're going to try and win that natty.
Do we get a y'all in there? You've been in Texas? Not even that. What's going on?
Well, hey, y'all. Why don't we see what the internet is talking about today, right? She did it right on, too, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I got. Buried treasure discovered in central England. Archaeologists unearthed a 1,300-year-old gold necklace that features garnets and semi-precious stones. The piece of jewelry and other items were found in an excavation site chosen for a future housing development. Researchers say they believe the necklace was buried with a very powerful woman who could have been a princess. Officials say it could be years before all the research is done to find out exactly where this thing came from, but it could eventually be put on public display. Very cool.
Pretty.
And also my birthstone, so if you
The garnet?
January.
Nice. Well, a guitar thought to have belonged to Marie Antoinette is expected to sell for up to $84,000 at auction later this week. The late 18th century Trianon guitar is listed as a rare type of instrument created in Paris around 1775. Now, the auction house says there is no documentation that comes with the instrument, but based on various historical accounts, it's believed to be a gift from the last Queen of France before the French Revolution to a marquise in her inner circle. So the guitar is on display in France until Thursday.
Interesting history there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, filmmaker Ava DuVernay has directed a new flavor for the Ben & Jerry's brand. It's called Lights, Camera, Action. So it's vanilla ice cream with salted caramel, graham cracker swirls, and pieces of chocolate chip cookie dough. Yum. The dessert will be available in both dairy and non-dairy and should be in stores nationwide by January. So in addition to creating this new flavor, DuVernay also becomes the first Black woman to grace a Ben & Jerry's ice cream pint. Proceeds from the product will go to her Array Alliance nonprofit, whose goal is to create equity in the entertainment world.
Ben & Jerry's, just my opinion, has the best non-dairy options.
Oh, yeah. It
So
doesn't
good.
even taste non-dairy.
Yeah, it's so good, so good.
Agreed. And you probably see one almost every day here in Hawaii, but what is the origin of the shaka?
Uncle, when's the first time you heard the word shaka?
Well, I was kind of disappointed because the way that China said, shaka, that's not shaka. That's not easy.
So it's a new documentary called Shaka, A Story of Aloha, and it shows us the roots of the iconic hand sign. The crew just wrapped up filming for the production. For the first time in 60 years, filmmakers recreated an authentic hukilau, a centuries-old fishing technique, at Hukilau Beach. So the documentary is expected to be released early next year. You can look for details at projectshaka.com.
Awesome. I love that idea.
Yeah.
About time there was a documentary about the shaka. I agree. All right, following so much developing news here at HNN this afternoon, not only do we have the eruption, but we are also monitoring anything that comes out of that huge fire overnight. I know you were dropping off your puppy just blocks away. And
His
had to do
daycare was a block away, yeah.
And a lot of people complaining about the smell and fumes from that as well. So all those updates coming up a little bit later, first at 4 on KHNL. Don't forget podcasting all the time here at HNN. All you have to do, search Hawaii News Now wherever you get those podcasts. Have a great one.